There is quite a month of golf ahead of us, with the British Masters live on Sky Sports this week as we move ever closer to the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. Well, let's join our reporter Jamie Weir at the Belfry, which hosted the Ryder Cup in 2002, hosts the British Masters this week. Jamie, good to see you, and it really is a big week ahead for some of Team Europe's hopefuls.
Yeah, it absolutely is, Joe. A few players still hoping to force their way into Luke Donald's thinking. This is a venue synonymous with the Ryder Cup, hosted 4 times between 1985 and 2002. And whatever happens over the course of the 4 days here may well shape Luke Donald's team. Let's show you how that team looks at the moment, because 5 of the 6 automatic spots have already been locked up. Those 5 players as things stand: Rory McIlroy, Bob McIntyre, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose and Tyrrell Hatton. As you can see, just one automatic spot remains, currently occupied by Shane Lowry. Just outside that top 6, Sepp Straka and Rasmus Højgaard. The 6th and final automatic spot is still up for grabs, and it could not be simpler. This is the situation, with no points available at the Tour Championship at Eastlake this week, where Shane Lowry and Sepp Straka are both playing. The only player who can leapfrog Shane Lowry and qualify automatically is Rasmus Højgaard, who is in the field this week. And it is as simple as this: a two-way tie for 29th or better will see Rasmus Højgaard in the Ryder Cup team. If he were to finish 30th or lower, then Shane gets that 6th spot, and then it comes down to the captain's pick. So Rasmus Højgaard knows exactly what he has to do. He's coming off a runner-up finish in his home country in Denmark at the weekend. He's playing good golf. He has won around this venue before, albeit 5 years ago when he was still a teenager, but he knows exactly what he has to do. And if he were to finish outside the top 29, then it really does. It is out of his hands in that case. There is a pretty common belief, Joe, that the other spots, that when it comes to picks, they're pretty much sealed up already. So let's assume that Rasmus Højgaard does finish in the top 29 this week. Then the 6 picks, we're looking at Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka, Ludvig Åberg, Victor Hovland, Matt Fitzpatrick and John Rahm. Now, obviously, if Rasmus were to finish 30th or lower, then Shane gets that final spot. The other 5 players I mentioned would still get a pick, but that final pick really does become a question mark. You're looking at either of the 2 Højgaard twins, Nicolai as well, who was part of that successful team in Rome, the likes of Matt Wallace, Aaron Rai, both in the field this week. Harry Hall has been very impressive in the PGA Tour this season and is in the Tour Championship at Eastlake this weekend. But really, it is all down to Rasmus. If he does manage to seal it this week, then you've got your 12 pretty much nailed on, I would say. And I think both Luke Donald, Dodo Molinari, the backroom team for Europe, will be incredibly happy with how settled that team looks from the team in Rome. The same 12 surnames as Rome, with just Rasmus being subbed in for Nicolai. So pretty straightforward from a European point of view. And I think Luke Donald is chomping at the bit. I saw him a little bit earlier to get to Bethpage just a month from now.
Yeah, so you said it there, Jamie, this European team looking pretty settled. Can the same be said for Team USA?
No, the picture is a lot more confusing when it comes to the United States side. 6 of them have now been confirmed. 6 are locked in as their 6 automatic qualifiers. So let's show you the 6 that Keegan Bradley will have at the moment. And obviously unsurprising to see Scotty Scheffler leading the way in those Ryder Cup standings. JJ Spawn, the US Open champion there as well. Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Harris English and Bryson DeChambeau. So those are the 6 for Keegan Bradley at the moment. 7th, 8th and 9th in their standings at the moment are Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa and Ben Griffin. Now, it is a pretty widely held belief that those 3 are pretty much nailed on for picks as well. But then it becomes a lot more confusing. Unlike Europe, there are lots of players who have put their hand up for those final 3 spots. And you're looking at the likes of Maverick McNeely, Brian Harman, Andrew Novak, Cam Young, a winner just a couple of weeks ago at the Wyndham Championship, makes a ton of birdies. Patrick Cantlay has obviously played in successful Ryder Cup team in the past. Sam Burns, part of that team in Rome. Wyndham Clark, a major champion. Chris Gotthard, so impressive, winning the Scottish Open just a few weeks ago. And yes, Keegan Bradley himself, who obviously we've spoken plenty in recent months about the fact that will he pick himself? Can you be both a captain and a player in this day and age? That's a question that Keegan Bradley is going to have to answer himself. It is Wednesday next week when he confirms his 6 picks. But as I said, Thomas, Morikawa, Griffin pretty much thought to be nailed on as 3 of those picks. And then it really is anybody's guess who takes the final 3 spots. I was speaking just a little bit earlier on to one of Keegan Bradley's assistant captains, Brandt Snedeker, who is playing here at the Belfry this this week, and he wasn't giving too much away, unsurprisingly, but he has a lot of different players to choose from, Keegan. His team is going to look very different from the US side that lost in Rome 2 years ago, whereas Europe's side is looking incredibly settled. But it is Ryder Cup fever at the moment. We're just over a month away from the balls going up in the air at Bethpage, but both teams starting to take shape, and no doubt what happens over here over the course of the next few days will have a big say in that final part of Luke Donald's team.
Lovely stuff, Jamie. Thank you very much.